Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be answering the question, should you get coaching? Now I'll be explaining what you can expect from it, how effective it is, and at what stages in your growth as a player that you should be considering it. This is general advice as everyone is different, however I will try to give you a few checkpoints that you can clear in order to make it apply to you or stay away from it. Also, a quick little disclaimer is that I do currently offer coaching. It's not a huge part of my brand, but if you want to factor that bias into my analysis of coaching overall, by all means go ahead. Coaching aims to reduce mistakes and open your eyes up to a new line that you're missing. Coaches of higher rank should instantly spot tens of mistakes every single game you're playing because TFT is so complex. There's a couple of ways you can do it, but mainly you can do VOD reviews and then break down all of your errors, take notes on these errors, and then try to actively improve them in future games. The other way of doing it is via a live game, where the player can get an idea of what the coach is thinking as the game's occurring and compare it to what they're currently thinking. TFT is all about setting yourself up for future success, so mindfulness of the future outs and ins is important at all stages throughout the game. Overall, you can expect your flaws to be pointed out, including your failure to recognize outs with higher expected value, and you might get a few tips along the way. The effectiveness of coaching depends on your faults as a player. Fortunately, the majority of players that I will later recommend get coaching are in a position where pointing out said flaws can turn them around quite quickly. In my opinion, coaching should move you up a whole rank, so i.e. gold to plat, diamond to masters, or GM to challenger, assuming that you get a good coach, which most of the time is going to be at least GM, but ideally challenger. Now, it's important to note that the effectiveness of coaching is directly proportional to the games played. So let's say you have sub 100 games in a set, you're likely making too many mistakes where coaching is not exactly going to turn it around, and rather you just benefit from following general advice and playing more games to get comfortable with champions. That's not to say that coaching wouldn't work if you have a few games, however, it's definitely not needed. Now, who should get it? Coaching is definitely not for everyone, and there are a few indicators that strongly suggest that you shouldn't be getting it. The first up is money. If you can't afford it, there's hundreds of other ways to get free information online. You can watch Twitch, YouTube, or read guides online. There's heaps of free content out there, and you definitely don't need to pay money for it if you can't afford it. Secondly, for new players, if you have less than 50 games, you have so much to learn before worrying about coaching. If you're new to the set, then learn the champions, and if you're completely fresh and ranked bronze or silver and have barely played the game, it's like getting tutoring before doing your basic schoolwork or homework. I would highly recommend that you worry more about the simple tutorials out there rather than specific coaching which might tailor towards your specific weaknesses as a player, because there's going to be so many different areas that you need to be focused on that you don't really need specific niches pointed out. Next up, we have a few points which would lean you towards coaching, but none of these are a guarantee that you need it per se. First up is if you care about your rank. Now remember that rank is just a number, it's some pixels on a screen, but if you genuinely care about it, I won't judge because I do too. Then coaching can speed up the process for sure, and if it's something that you're willing to invest your money in, then definitely it will help you. Next up is if you've been hard stuck for a long while. This means that you're sitting around the same rank for a long time, and no matter how much time and effort you put into learning the game, you can't seem to get any better. This is where coaching can be really beneficial. If you do find yourself hard stuck, then I would recommend that you start actively trying to improve by taking notes, watching more guides, and applying the theory to your games. But if that's still failing after a long time, then 1 to 2 sessions could open up your eyes to a new way of thinking or showing you things that you're missing, which you might not have otherwise seen. And next up we have if you respond well to one-on-one mentoring. The best way I can give you an analogy on this is if you were a kid in high school who did better with the one-on-one help as opposed to when the teacher was giving out general advice, then you might find that coaching is very, very effective for you and therefore might be more worth it. For example, some students would rather not listen too much to the teacher and just work through the textbook and do practice questions, whereas other students really responded well to the extra explanation given by the teacher maybe towards the end of the lesson, or if you got tutoring outside of class and you found that you responded well to that, then it's likely that this is going to carry on for when you get coaching for TFT. And of course, because coaching is an investment, it's a good way to think about how effective this is going to be for you, and so it's why I think that this factor should definitely be taken into play when you're considering whether or not you want to invest. If I don't recommend coaching for you, then by all means make your own decisions, but I believe that if you're in that category, then you'll definitely get worse results from it. At the end of the day, rank is just a number, and most coaching is paid, so it's your own money and you can use it if it brings you genuine satisfaction, but make sure to ask yourself that question if it's something that you truly want. Make sure when you're picking a coach, you choose someone who's not just good at the game, but they're actually good at explaining their thought process so that you can improve as a player rather than just playing one really good game and them telling you everything that they would have done in your spot. Now, to determine which coaches meet this criteria, I would recommend that you watch their Twitch streams and YouTube videos to see if they articulate their thoughts well, and if you feel like you're actively learning every time you watch them, then there's a good chance that they can take those skills and apply it to your own specific games. Now, that's it for me. I hope this cleared up some questions surrounding coaching. Of course, if you want coaching from me, then just DM me on Discord. And as always, if you want to see more of me, come check me out on Twitch, as I will be live at the time of posting this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.